Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we've got a Princess of Swords. This is someone who is very curious, somebody who is perhaps trying to penetrate into a mystery, trying to solve a puzzle, perhaps. I think you're somebody who is, you're very smart, very intelligent. I think that you have a desire to learn, that you are, you're trying to understand something deeper, okay? And I think that there's a certain humbleness in you in that regard. It's kind of like you're aware that you don't know everything. Right? Isn't that the first step toward wisdom, is realizing that we don't know everything yet? So I think that you're approaching something as a kind of a beginner, kind of saying, look, I don't know the answers, but I'm here to find out. I want to learn. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it's about a relationship. It could be at work, at home, at school. You're not just kind of barging into the room acting like you're already the expert. I think you're kind of starting from white belt. You're figuring things out. You're going to learn the information. You're going to ask the questions. You're going to give yourself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to not know the answers or to get the wrong answers. You know what I mean? So I think this is very, very good energy. Let's put it into a little bit of context and see where it is applying to your life right now. Four of Pentacles, okay? Could be, I kind of feel like it might be at home. Let's see, what else we have? Empress, yeah, okay. We have a Six of Pentacles, a Two of Swords, a Three of Cups, very nice. You got some really good cards here. You have a Nine of Swords, okay. All right, I get the idea here. We see a Tower, but we see a Nine of Cups as well. And we see a Three of Swords. I feel like there is a challenge in love, right? I feel like there's either maybe some distance. We have this idea of the pain of separation. It could be that in some, whether it's a friendship, a romance, a family thing, I feel like there's some distance. Okay, and it may be literal distance, like a long distance relationship, or you're somehow physically separated from someone that you care about. It might be some kind of a misunderstanding. It might also be kind of the realization that you're not really getting what you need, that there's a lack of reciprocity. Okay, that's what I'm feeling, especially with this Nine and with that Three of Swords that we have. But let's select the mystery card. Bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. I'm going to set it down right here with Bubo, the mechanical owl, right on top. And we're not going to release that Kraken until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comment section down beneath the video. And let's look around the room, okay? Because we see interesting things, don't we? We see the Empress underneath the surface here. I think that this is your nature. This is what you really are all about, this kind of like supportive, nurturing, really a giving kind of energy. I feel like you have been giving a lot in this relationship, but perhaps not meeting with anything coming back in. again, kind of suggesting that lack of reciprocity. We see the Tower in the environment or in the position of the relationship itself, and it may be that there is kind of like a doorway that needs to open. It feels like there is. It's kind of a wake-up call, I think, about the relationship, and I think that it is. It's kind of like we're trying to hold something together and not let it crumble and fall apart. Okay, and I think that it's important that you understand how to do that, because I think it would be easy to just say, forget it, I'm gone, I'm out. I don't think you're doing that, though. I really don't. I feel like your goal now is to sort of, Four of Pentacles, right? Hold everything together, but also boundaries. So I feel like instead of chasing validation from this person, right? I feel like this is a call for you to remember your value, remember your worth. Okay, and cherish your energy as an Empress. It's not gender specific, but to cherish and value your nature and your energy as a kind of a loving being. You know what I mean? As a giver, as a provider, as a lover, or whatever this might be. If it's a friend, if it's a family member, but to value yourself. Okay, and I also think that the boundaries that you need to set with this Four of Pentacles, this is going to kind of establish some kind of foundation or a baseline. You're choosing love that's going to match your energy. Okay, and by doing that, I think you're really opening that door to deeper intimacy and a soul level partnership. And maybe there is a choice that you need to make if this is the person that you're going to do that with. But there needs to be some kind of change in the nature of the relationship. Again, if there's physical distance, that needs to change. If there's some misunderstanding or a lack of communication, that's something that you're willing to change. If this is a lack of reciprocity, perhaps this is the conversation that needs to be had. Because I think that you're demanding the right kind of love. Someone or something, I feel like it's a person, but something that matches your energy. Okay, so we have our majors anyway. Let's see, we don't have any fire, except for the Tower is like a lot of fire at once, right? We have water and water. We've got air and air and air and air. And we have a little bit of earth energy back here. Okay, so I think the abundance of the air energy is saying that you're someone who is kind of like all about the communication right now, that you're really trying to express yourself, you're trying to figure out what it is that you need, why you need it, and how you can express that, how you can ask for that. Okay, and in a way, that's our Three of Cups, right? Mercury in Cancer here, understanding like how to have the love that you want. It has to start with you. Okay, it has to start with you, and if the other person isn't going to respond, that's not your person. It's simple, right? And when you're vibrating at a certain rate, a certain frequency, and you're radiating out your love and your potential and all this kind of wonderful, heart energy, you will know what people, places, and things are matching that energy and which ones aren't. The ones that aren't, why give them all of your focus? Why continue to give and give and give? Might as well give to the right thing or person. Could be a pet, could be a plant. I feel like it's a person though, okay? And so I think that, through the establishment of boundaries, healthy boundaries, okay, and you're going to be secure. You're going to have the safety, security, and stability. I feel like this is kind of what you're looking for anyway. But the issue is that you could feel safe and secure and stable in a relationship that's not meant for you. Okay, so I think it's important that you understand what you're building with this other person. Yeah. So with these two here, I feel that there is this questioning kind of energy. And maybe you're asking yourself these questions. What do I need to feel secure? What is it that I want to have as my sort of home? You know, what kind of life am I building? What's the foundation that this current relationship is built on? Is this just physical? Does it go deeper than that? What are the boundaries that are being kind of stepped over for you? Okay. And maybe you don't know. Maybe you're not sure what it is that you're willing to sort of put up with, and what are some oh no-nos in your life. Okay. Because by the looks of this 9 of Swords, you're not happy with the way things are going. And it's either you got to ask yourself, what do I need in order to feel secure and stable in this relationship? And is that something that this other person can offer you? Whether it's a friendship, maybe it's a business relationship, whether it's a family member, whether it's a lover or a significant other, okay? Understanding that, you know, you have the right to set up some boundaries and say, this is what I expect from my life. And if the other person isn't going to respect that or honor that or work with you in order to kind of fulfill those needs, right, then perhaps it is a relationship that's not in alignment. Okay, you're trying to establish, deeper intimacy and soul level, contact with somebody. And I think the first step has to be you valuing yourself, realizing how awesome you are, right? And it's kind of, establishing some expectations. Yeah. And then voicing those and saying, this is the kind of relationship I want. If that's not for you, then kind of like, you know where the door is. You're trying to keep that doorway clear so that you can find that deeper connection with somebody. Okay? Now hit the like button if this is resonating with you so far. Yeah. But I feel that you're in this conversational energy right now, right? Where I think you're trying to ask questions of yourself and the other party, the other person. And I think you're communicating your needs. You're communicating, because see, really the 4 of Pentacles is basic needs, right? It's water, shelter, food. That's basically it, right? Water, shelter, food, and a fire, let's say. The thing is, we don't have any fire here, okay? And so I wonder if that is maybe one of the components that are missing here. I wonder if you have the safety, it seems like a stable relationship, you have your water, your shelter, and your food, but where's the passion? Where's the creativity? Where's the zest? Where's the liveliness? Where's the energy? Where's the real, interest? And so I wonder if that is something that may be lacking here. That there is not enough, excitement maybe. I guess maybe the mystery card will give us a clue as to what's missing, but also asking those questions about your life generally. Do you have your basic needs met? Because that's priority 1. Without those basic needs, nothing else is going to get done. Okay? And in this relationship also asking if the other person is meeting some basic level of criteria for what you expect. And realizing that how you value yourself, because it all starts at home, right? Well, how you feel about you, that is going to determine what you put up with from other people and what your baseline of like an acceptable partnership, friendship, work relationship, or even, romantic relationship, what those standards will be. The more you value yourself, the more firm and established will be your boundaries. So again, it kind of all starts at home. You have to recognize your value and your worth. And that's some spiritual growth, right? And maybe asking yourself these hard questions, like what have you been letting this other person kind of get away with? And it doesn't have to be a lover. Now put your pitchforks and your torches away. It could be friends. It could be coworkers. Are you letting people cross your boundaries? Why? And it's obviously not making you happy, 9 of Swords, but I think that you have the potential to be extraordinarily happy. With the 9 of Cups here, this is the position of the obstacle or the fear, right? Because this is what we want, but what we're maybe afraid we won't get. And so sometimes the Four of Pentacles is staying in a situation just because it's stable. Maybe this is your job. And maybe the people at work or the job itself you feel like doesn't really respect you or doesn't treat you right or doesn't value you. This doesn't have to be, personal in that way. It could be something happening at work. If the people around you aren't valuing you, if the company itself, let's say, isn't valuing you, kind of have to ask yourself, like, am I staying here just because of the paycheck? But am I feeling like I'm being kind of torn apart inside, but I'm just here because, well, it's a stable gig? I mean, we've all been there. We've all been there in personal relationships. We've all been there in romantic situations or work things or friendships or even family, right? I'm going to stay close to my family even though they treat me like crap just because it's better than being alone, right? Not always, I think that we have the ability to walk away from anything that doesn't treat us with a minimum of respect, okay, and value. And that minimum, you get to decide what that minimum is, by the way. And depending on where that minimum is for you, kind of determines how you really think about yourself. What do you deserve in life? Give me a heck yes if you're ready to start solidifying these boundaries and saying, these are things I'm not going to put up with anymore. Because we're looking for that deeper intimacy, soul level partnership, okay, where we completely can match perfectly with the other party. Whether this is your job, your career, at work, at home, at school, it doesn't matter. This is everywhere. This is life. I don't do like career readings. I don't do love readings. I don't do, relationship readings, because guess what? Life has all of those things. Every reading is a love reading. Every reading has a little bit of career, a little bit of romance, a little bit of friendship and platonic things. And it's all the same. It's all connected, So anyway, down beneath the surface, you have your Empress. And this is your soul vibe. This is your frequency. You're a giver. You want to take care of everybody. I think you're somebody that, you like to see things grow. You like to plant the seed. You like to water it. You like to be out there pulling weeds with your hat on and your gloves and, really tending to the garden. You're a cultivator. Okay? Claim that in the comments for me, please. Say, I am a cultivator. Because you're cultivating the garden. Okay? And I think the Empress has a tendency to focus on the external garden a lot, to the point where you're not always, remembering yourself. And I think that people right now are probably taking you for granted. And so to remember your sacred worth, okay, is really for you to start cultivating that internal garden and say, you know what, I'm worth more than what they're giving me. And that's just simple facts, This isn't you with some grand, big, huge ego. It's not you with this hubris or delusions of grandeur. No, you're saying, I deserve more. Simple. It's not ego, right? It's truth, right? That you deserve more than what you're getting because you're getting a 9. You feel a 9 of swords. And I don't think there's anybody else to blame. We're not looking for blame. There's no other court cards here except for the 1, which I think is you. Okay? So Spirit, in a way, is saying, we're not blaming other people. We're not blaming anybody. But you have to take responsibility and say, if other people aren't valuing you and you've been putting up with that, it's time to make a change. That's all. Anytime we get a 4, we start looking for the 5. Because it's basically saying either the situation has gotten too small for you, that you've grown too big for the fishbowl you're in, okay? Or it's saying that the situation now is not satisfying. It's untenable for the long term. Whatever situation this is, whatever box you're in right now, is not conducive to your happiness. Okay? So what is conducive to your happiness is choosing something else. Okay? Making some different kinds of decisions. Okay, I think these two cards, the positions in the spread are very connected, these two. And they're both major arcana energies, and they're both quite opposite. But I think that there's kind of a hidden lesson here, because sometimes we think of the Empress as a very creative card. Sometimes destruction is part of creation, right? They seem like two sides of the same coin, these two. And so I feel that there is something in your life that needs to be sort of torn down in order to be built back up. I feel like this Four of Pentacles has to change. And I'm not saying that you have to leave your job or leave your relationship, but I feel like you have to, we need to gain a little bit of the fire. We need to stoke a little bit of a fire here. Because I think if you don't set your boundaries and kind of set your expectations, and if you don't kind of like set your worth or your value, you're going to end up breaking down. Okay? There's going to be a point at which you can't sustain this anymore. So it might be like you know your worth, and so there's a certain threshold. Anything less than that, you're not going to accept. And it's interestingly kind of, maybe it's there's a little bit more flexibility when it comes to money. You know, you say, you're worth $1 million, right, at least. So then you're not going to take any job that pays you less than that, right? Well, sometimes we do have to compromise. It's about prioritizing things, But in terms of the relationships themselves, you don't have to put up with that. Doesn't mean you have to leave the relationship, but it does mean that the familiar way things have been going, the routine, right? Four of Pentacles, card of habit and routine. The routine that's been taking place, which to me feels like someone is taking you for granted. Okay? That system needs to be torn down and reestablished. But look, okay, we're taking everything down. We're taking everything off the walls, and we're going to rebuild it. Okay? Forget about all the rules. We're gonna write some new ones now. Okay, so we're sort of scrapping the way things used to be. And oddly enough, I think that with the Six of Pentacles back here, there was a time where things were more harmonious. Okay? And really it feels like this is a physical harmony, but we're still looking for the mental emotional harmony. See, the Three is potential for a deep soul level partnership or connection. The Six is already a connection. There's already harmony here. The Three in you and the Three in the other person, right? The potential has gotten together and it's worked perfectly. Maybe that's saying that this is more of a relationship that's built on something physical foundations, rather than anything deeper. And you're trying to break through to that deeper. You're trying to see if there's any deeper connection there. Whether it's at the job, at home, work, school, doesn't matter, right? We could use the example of a friendship. And maybe in this friendship, the two of you are very compatible in a very practical way. You like the same things, you have similar interests, you complement each other's, energies well, and there's always, on paper, it seems like it would be a wonderful partnership. Right? It seems like there's compatibility on the surface. Okay? A lot of similarities, that sort of thing. A lot of shared interests. But then when the two of you get together, you're kind of left like lacking something. Okay? And in the physical realm, in the sort of career or work or financial realm, this is, a job that you know how to do the work. It pays you for the work. And it seems like that's the harmony. It's superficial, it is surface level, it is maybe financial or physical harmony only. Okay? And the Three of Cups is that deeper mental emotional connection. This is the potential for that. Okay? Because the Three is in you. It's unmanifested, it's potential energy. We want to make it kinetic energy. So it's got to be a 5 or a 6, Really, we want the 6. It says the Three of Cups in me is connected, resonating with the Three of Cups in you, and together we make that 6 of Cups. Then it really feels like resonance, feels like consonance, right? We're vibrating with somebody. And it feels like with the Six of Cups, there's family there, there's community, there's love, there's value. Maybe this is a situation where you feel like you're only valued for what you can give. See, this is the Six of Pentacles, meaning you're bringing something of value to the table. So as long as you keep giving the thing, time, effort, energy, money, space, whatever, as long as you keep giving, right, Empress, then you feel the value, then you feel the worth. But where's the deeper value? Where's the deeper love? Where's the sense of unconditional love? Where's the deeper intimacy? Where's the soul level partnership? Okay. So to me, it feels like you're done only being valued for what you can produce or what you create or what you can give. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if this is resonating with you, okay? Give me a yes if you're still here. The Two of Swords looming right above you here is the idea that something needs to change. There needs to be a decision made. And you've been going about it in a very airy, intellectual way. Okay, and that's very good. The Two of Swords is not so much the decision that you're making, but how you're making your decision. And I think that you've been talking, thinking, asking questions, investigating, trying to, talk it through. And that's good. You need to do that. Talk, think, and then stop it. Then trust your intuition. You see, there's that crescent moon at the top of the card there, showing the real meaning of this card. The real way of making a decision is not by thinking about it, weighing the pros and cons, getting a list of facts on either side of the chart, making the Venn diagram, doing the calculations, trying to solve for X or whatever. No, you do all that stuff, of course, and you do it first. Then you stop thinking and you feel your way forward. Okay? Because maybe on paper, yeah, you make all these pros and cons. Yeah, I guess that's the answer. But what does your heart tell you? What does your soul tell you right now? We've got to quiet the mind down so we can listen. First, you have to think all day and all night. Think it through all the way. And then you have to quiet your mind and listen for that answer. And it may come in the form of a feeling. But first you got to stop talking, And I feel like you're in that kind of conversational mood right now. The Three of Cups there is the way forward for you, is listening. Does this situation, does this other person, is there at least the potential that in a realistic way, because there's always going to be a potential in everything. Anybody in the world, yeah, they could potentially be the one for you. But based on everything that you know and you have experienced, what does your heart tell you? Is this the right situation for you? Or do you need to go somewhere else? Because you're opening the door here. You're saying you're ready for those deeper connections, the soul level connections, the deeper intimacy. You're ready for that. Is this the right situation where that energy can happen? Because you're not the one closing the door on it. I think that you're going to look elsewhere if you need to. Okay. And I want to hear your story, so leave it in the comments. Let me know what this is for you. Okay. But the first thing that needs to happen is that you need to remember your value and your worth. You're not chasing validation from anybody. You're not going to stay here just because it pays the bills or just because it feels familiar. Okay, and that's exactly what the Princess of Swords is trying to do, is look at that Four of Pentacles and say, is that enough? This is a bare minimum, basic needs, water, shelter, food, fire, maybe. You're kind of looking at that and you're thinking, is that enough for me? Is that going to make me happy? If this were all there was right now in your life, if this was everything that relationship would ever be, if this was the best it could ever be, would it be enough for you? Okay. And any kind of hesitation there probably gives you your answer. Yeah. Now, subscribe to the channel. I promise you that things are going to get better. Okay? The Nine of Swords may be your general energy now. This is the feeling of separation. This is the feeling of kind of being torn apart from the inside. This is the card not of happiness, but of the opposite of that. Okay? It's the 9 swords. The 9 cups is what we really want. Right now we have a 9 of swords. Because there is something obviously we need to wake up to. And I think that there is and this is sometimes it's a truth that is hidden from us. Sometimes when we really, now that we really think about it, we really feel it, we kind of like we're hit with this 9 of swords and realizing that, yeah, this is how I feel. Because this is not intimacy. This is not a soul level partnership. This is not super abundance, it's super scarcity. Okay? This is sorrow on the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual creative planes. Okay? This is the moment that we wake up and realize that something needs to change, basically, right? We wake up to that painful truth. And so again, Spirit's not telling you you have to leave your relationship or quit your job. No, but Spirit wants you to realize that you are not happy with the way things are. In whatever realm we're talking, if this is at work, at home, at school, again, it doesn't matter. There's some realm here where you are not happy, and guess what? It's bleeding over into other areas of your life. If this is a work thing, you feel undervalued, underappreciated, you kind of feel like you're being treated like crud at work. Guess what? Your relationships at home with your pets, your plants, your people, they're going to suffer too. And that's what this card really shows. Sorrow in one area is going to lead to a diminished enjoyment of other areas. Okay? It could be that this really pays the bills well. Maybe you're being paid nicely, but you get treated like crap. Okay? How is that affecting your relationship with your kids or your spouse or your friends or yourself? It all kind of connects with the self, you know, because you're the common denominator. So you get affected by what's going on at work, and then you have that energy that you're taking then into your personal life, or vice versa. Maybe it's your spouse or something, and you feel that you're treated a certain way. You're taking on all of that pain at home, and then you go to work, and the work starts to suck too. Now, I would love to hear your interpretation of this, and I know this is quite a sensitive subject. But I feel that this is the best news. Because once you realize what it is that you are truly experiencing and how you really feel about things. Because this is kind of like, this is saying that, yeah, you've been getting hurt by something. And I think that in some ways, you've been trying to like not acknowledge it or say, well, it's kind of comes with the territory, or, you know, you can't win them all kind of thing, or, should just be happy with what I have, and, you know, trying to be content with what is going okay, what is sort of, you know, the physical part or the surface level part or whatever. Trying to hone in on the good things so that we can ignore the bad things. But the bad things, I think you have to determine if you're willing to put up with them or not. The 9 of Swords really is telling me that this is something that you can't continue to put up with. And maybe it's not any one particular thing, but as a general, kind of a general misery, okay? And now the Tower in the environment, or the Tower in the relationships, is a card of revelation. This is a pivotal moment, okay? Because I think that this is the moment where, you know, that old expression, you either do your business or you get off the pot. You've heard that? I can't use the same language, but that's kind of what this card is right now for you. It's basically saying that this is the pivotal moment. From this moment on, things are going to be different, one way or the other. Either this relationship starts, you know, working, and we kind of meet in the middle somewhere, and we start making that deeper connection. Okay? Or it's almost really an ultimatum. Yeah, it's kind of an ultimatum. Because now that you've recognized something and you have acknowledged your value, and you've said, wait a minute, I deserve more than just the bare minimum scraps. Okay? There's no way to go back to just being content with the bare minimum scraps. Okay? So this is like your eye is wide open. Your third eye is wide open. This is an exclamation point. You're coming to the end of a sentence. Now, it's truly up to you, and it's up to how the other person responds. That's going to write the next sentence. What's the next sentence going to be for you? Because I feel like everything's coming to kind of an apex here. And at that apex is going to be that kind of bottom line. Look, I need more from this relationship. Either you start working on it with me or I'm out. And I think that you are, you're choosing to value yourself. And that sense of self-worth is allowing you to make those tough decisions so that you can open the doorway to those deeper connections that you really want. To choose a love that matches your energy. And this one ain't going to do it, then bye. There's the door. Whether it's a friend, even a family member, co-workers, something. I mean, it's a complex situation. Granted, it's not easy. What decision you make now is going to affect other areas of your life. Remember, everything is interconnected. So, you can't just up and quit your job. That's going to affect your life at home, right? Adding more stress and more burden and straining your relationships at home. Okay? Splitting with your partner, let's say, right? Or your family or something like that, choosing to separate from something, is going to affect your finances. Okay, maybe you're sharing the bills or, so everything affects everything else. But really it's you choosing what is going to be best for you and what is going to lead to your happiness. And I think that the door is open now. Okay? And honestly, I don't know whether or not your current situation is going to match your energy. It's kind of like you're going into your boss's office and you're saying, look, things are going to be different after today. Either I walk out of here with a raise, because I'm worth it, or I walk out of here with my personal effects, and I go to the car and I drive away, and I don't come back. And I know that's kind of harsh, and I know that maybe that's not the way to approach life all the time, But I feel that you're kind of opening that doorway for somebody else to come through and deliver and match your energy. It's not like you're asking for a handout. It's like you've already done the work. Now you're just expecting somebody the other party, to kind of, to reciprocate, okay? And so maybe this is a feeling of distance. Again, we have the pain of separation. That's what the Nine of Swords is, the pain of separation. And so it could be that there is this long-distance relationship, and just as an example, And this is the moment that you say, look, we either take definite steps to come together, or I've got to leave this relationship. I don't think you're happy with that long-distance relationship for a long-term thing. So you're saying we either put a plan in action now to close the gap, or I've got to go in a different direction. Okay? If this is a lack of reciprocity, you're opening the door and you're saying now's the time for you to reciprocate, and if you don't, or you can't, or you won't do it, then, we accept the consequences of that. But this is the moment, this is that turning point, okay? And I think that what this is helping you to do is get to your happiness. I feel like this really is the best news ever. Because doing this, having this ultimatum on the table, one way or the other is going to lead to your happiness, I promise you. Okay? I promise you. And the tower is not always easy to go through. This is that open doorway, but look, it's a doorway of fire. Let's do I know this isn't typically a divine doorway card, but let's do a divine doorway oracle card. A note on love. Seek different seasons and enter into the unknown. When love is the focus, foundation, and goal, blessed is the body, mind, and soul. Yes. So when you have the right kind of love in your life, when you're focused on that love, that resonance, consonance, the soul level, deeper intimacy connections, Your body, mind, and soul are going to benefit. Okay? In other words, the 3-3-3. The physical, financial, mental, emotional, spiritual, creative. And so that really is wonderful because that's echoing what I said before about how the pain in your job situation, let's say, is bleeding over and causing stress and tension and hurt in your personal relationships or in your spiritual life or in your creative life. Okay? And vice versa. And so that's kind of it. When you're experiencing the love that you really deserve and that you want, and when you're building your happiness, when you're living your happy life, every part of your life is going to benefit from that. Okay? When you're happy at your job, guess what? You go home and you're happy with your kids and you're happy with your spouse and your pets and whatever, right? So, yeah, there is a shift here. Okay? There's a shift here. And going through the tower is never easy, but you're focused on those things in life that you want and you need. These are your non-negotiables. I want you to type heck yes in the comments. It may be a rough ride having this kind of confrontation, ultimatum, moment. But on the other side of that, look, 3-3-3, 9 of Cups, superabundance. Happiness, you're living the happy life. This is the dream that keeps on dreaming. This is the love that keeps on loving. Okay? And this is what you deserve. And I want you to put that in the comments. Say, I deserve happiness. Because you do. You have the right to pursue your happiness. And if that means, well, that you're going to have to walk away from something that isn't going to provide you anything beyond just the basic and maybe not even the basic stuff, that's your right to do so. Okay? And this is a move that's going to improve your life one way or the other. Maybe the other person can say, okay, hey, you know what? You're right. I want to make some changes. Let's get it going. Let's fix this. Or they're going to say, sorry, I can't do anything different. You're going to have your answer, But you're going to have to make that kind of, you're going to have to make the ultimate decision. Yeah. Now, we do have a 3 of Swords at the end. Okay? And the 3 of Swords is the sorrow. The 3 of Swords is also a card of like heartbreak. To me, it feels like it's a card of reliving a past situation that is continuing to hurt us. Okay? And so this is the function of memory. Okay? When you've gone through an experience, a negative experience, and you keep thinking about it and reliving it, you're kind of hurting yourself over and over and over again, right? Alternatively, when you've gone through a really positive experience and you keep reliving that, it's sort of like you're healing yourself more and more and more. Okay? But with this one, I feel like there is something in your past that has convinced you that you should accept things that treat you poorly. Okay? And we all have this. Okay? Every single tarot card is inside all of us at all times. This is the one that's being pointed out for you. It's being emphasized by Spirit for you. What is it in your past that convinced you that you deserve to be treated like crap by people? Or that you're supposed to put up with people treating you poorly? Because that's the thing that you have to overcome. Okay? And that's why, like, the first step that has to be taken is that you have to remember your sacred worth. Because having that sacred worth is going to allow you to determine your boundaries and your bare minimums and your oh no no's and your non-negotiables. It's going to be proportionate to your value, your self-worth. Yeah. That's step 1. To love yourself and value yourself. And to realize that you deserve more than what you're getting. Because what you're getting is making you feel like this. And it's sort of like it's having a negative effect on every other area of your life. Okay? The good news is that you have the ability to change this right now and start building toward greater happiness in your life. Let's look at the mystery card. I know this is getting to be a long reading here. I want this to be a 2 of Cups, or the Lovers, or the 6 of Cups. If you have a prediction, Sagittarius, put it in the comment section. Let's see. Knight of Wands. Leaping into a new beginning. Okay? Maybe in a way freeing yourself from this situation is allowing you to find new opportunities to have that fire. This is the fire that we were missing, right? This is the fire that we kind of have been looking for. We have the water, shelter, food, but where's the fire? There's fire. So it may be that you are freeing yourself. Well, that's, you know what, the Tower is an escape from prison, right? That's one interpretation of the card. It's kind of like saying, and I was kind of trying to avoid being this blunt in the reading, but with the Four of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, it sort of feels like the relationship you're in now is a prison, because it's holding you back from your passion, from your creativity, from your joy, from your zest, from you leaping into things that really resonate with you, things that you deserve, you know. So this, it becomes a liberation of your fire, allowing you to leap with confidence into things that are more likely to resonate with you. But you can't do that if you don't value yourself, for one thing. You can't do that if you're stuck in this situation. So by freeing yourself from this situation, you are literally like opening the door for all these new possibilities that that pull you in. This is the card of leaping into action with no hesitation, with zest, with motivation, with interest, with zeal, with enthusiasm. Okay? And that's something the reading's been missing, because all of that energy has been kind of tied up, contained in the walls of this tower. Perhaps this is the tower and this is you breaking free of the tower. And I think in the first step has to be understanding why you feel like you deserved to be in here, or that you did not deserve anything more than this. I think you're leaping forward. You're leaping out of something into an amazing, amazing future. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to leap into an extended reading if you want to stick around. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link right below the video. New readings for Sagittarius, Tuesdays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.